Always remember.
Okay, we are here at Fan Expo Denver with Dr. Pershing himself, Omid Abtahi. Thank you so much for doing this with us. How's the con going?
Yeah, my pleasure. Con's great.
Yeah?
It's great. People are great. Denver's great.
Yeah.
Having a good time, yeah.
Now, we would be remiss if we didn't start off the interview with one of our favorite lines. Tongs Days, am I right?
Yeah, happy Tongs Days.
Obviously, you have some more minor-facing roles in season 1 and 2. Definitely not insignificant.
Yeah.
What was your reaction when you, I guess, were called back for season 3 and pretty much get a designated episode for yourself?
Yeah, no, that's a good question because, like, I knew at the end of season 2 there was going to be something for season 3. John and Dave hinted at it, and then I got a call from my agent, so I was anticipating it. Mm-hmm. So I got a call from my agent. He's like, "Hey, so these are your work days. I mean, these are the days for you." So it was like 19 days. I was like, "Oh, these are the days for the episode, right?" He's like, "No, these are the days for your work days." And I was like, this doesn't sound right. 19 was like 18, 19 work days. And then sure enough, I got the script and I saw the size of the story within the episode. And immediately my stomach turned, nerves, anxiety. And then I read through the script and all that anxiety was replaced by excitement.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just for the episode itself, this is kind of a follow-up. We told you beforehand that with Hannah, shout out to Hannah at the Rayside.
I remember you.
Did an interview with her before that episode premiered.
Yeah.
You told her that Pershing is driven by his scientific desires. In that episode specifically, the word that I wouldn't use is cowardice. Almost, it seems a little bit of fear when he's talking about Moff Gideon or talking to those he's engaging with, or even sitting at the table with the others. I mean, how much does kind of fear play into his role at that point?
I think it's. I wouldn't use the word fear necessarily. I was more anxiety.
I love that. Okay.
I found him, and it maybe just came intuitively, as someone who is more comfortable within his lab.
Yeah.
And whatever he's working on than dealing with people.
Absolutely.
You know, it's actually quite interesting because some people were like, "Hey, these are autistic traits," and looking back at it, I said, absolutely.
Absolutely,
I could absolutely see Dr. Pershing on the spectrum, someone who just does better, you know, is socially awkward.
Absolutely.
I think so. That wasn't the fear so much.
Yeah.
Not to say that there isn't any of Moff Gideon.
Absolutely.
But it's just he's a little uptight.
It was something that I picked up on when we were rewatching the episode.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's this underlying anxiety, even when maybe his walls drop a little bit with Elia Kane. There's still kind of this tension of like, can I trust her? Can I trust these people?
Yeah.
And obviously, I think that maybe his intuition was true and he didn't maybe fully believe in it. Is that something that you kind of agree with?
100%. I don't think this guy had a friend.
Yeah.
Or anyone he would consider a friend. I think his friend was his science, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it was almost new territory for him to have this companionship with Elia Kane.
Yeah.
We've heard in interviews...
It didn't work out well, so he lesson learned.
Yeah, that mind flayer is no fun.
Yeah.
We heard in some other interviews with you that you referred to Dr. Pershing as living in the gray. Throughout that episode, you kind of see him from his other appearances in Mando where he's got the gray cloning facility suit, but then he changes to the blue, and then even later for that adventure mission, which was probably pretty cool to film going in. That was probably awesome. We see him in that brown. How much does something like costuming and theming portray how you go about acting in a character?
That's a good question. Well, both the Imperial outfit and the New Republic outfit are very like custom-made, tight, fit to your body, and so immediately it probably helped with that feeling uptight.
Absolutely.
And then when they put on that Blade Runner type outfit, I felt cool, but I felt I was like in someone else's costume.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the movements, the walking was like, oh, he's trying out this cool energy.
Yeah.
You know? it might be a little awkward. But
No, I mean, it looked pretty cool. I mean, the full suit from the neck down, I would say the glasses and obviously your face are probably the only things that was like, oh, that's Pershing. Everything else is like, was a Han Solo.
Collar, like you said, very Blade Runner.
For sure. I didn't feel like Dr. Pershing until I put those glasses on.
Okay.
I showed up in my costume, I had these glasses on, and then we would switch it out. And as soon as those glasses came on, like...
Can I ask, are the glasses you wear, are they prescription at all?
They're prescription. They're from the 1960s, 70s.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's legit. They offered it to me, but I was like, maybe I'm going to regret this. I was like, no, you guys hold on to it. I'll be back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
Well, that was one of my later questions as well, is like, obviously it's not looking good for Pershing, maybe in terms of mentally.
It wasn't looking good for Darth Maul either.
That is true.
You know, right?
That is a great example.
So it's Star Wars. Anything's possible.
Yeah. Well, then, do you have a hope that you could return?
Absolutely. I have a great hope.
Yeah.
But like, it's up to John and Dave to want that.
Yeah.
But I will not give up hope. He's not dead in my mind. I don't think he's dead in anyone's mind. He's just a little, brain frazzled,
It's that TV thing of unless you see them die, they're not actually dead. So there's always an opportunity.
Died in season 1 and came back season 2.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right?
And also, like I said, you do not have an insignificant role. Like, Pershing is very crucial in the cloning process.
Thank you for saying so. Yeah.
You are the bridge between.
It's like, I'm about to say, like, was there any indication when they were setting up your character of like, could this allude to the sequels?
They didn't say that to me upright, but there was always something in the back.
Yeah.
But they don't want to tell you anything. We go into this blind. But it's something, I was hopeful for, and I don't think it was... I think there was enough hints that could be a possibility, but they might change their mind,
Something that you pointed out yesterday that I didn't even notice until watching the episode was... In your episode, you're constantly grabbing your ear as that kind of twitch, but that's where that blaster bolt went by. Was that a you decision, or was that like something to base that off of?
No, that was actually Lee Isaac Chung was the director, and that was something that he suggested.
Okay.
That it was interesting because people's takeaway was like, oh, when he's lying, he touches his ear.
Yeah.
But it was more than anything, it was a comfort blanket, like his blanket of comfort. Yeah.
Even talking about something like his anxiety or his remembrance of those moments, it seems almost like when he has a moment where he's trying to like build himself up for something greater, that's where that memory comes in.
Yeah.
Which is a really interesting tactic.
Yeah, it really is. I wish I was brilliant enough to have thought of it, but I can't take credit for it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of Lee Isaac Chung because I believe he did Minari.
He did Minari.
Which is, and a lot of other stuff. And so I didn't even make that connection until that. And I was like, he has a very specific attention to detail in that stuff. So my question for you is, what is it just like working with that set of directors? I believe you worked with Deborah in The Sin.
I worked with Deborah Chow, Dave Filoni.
Yep.
I worked with
Peyton, correct?
Peyton, in season 2. I was technically in Carl Weathers' episode, but like I did both the episodes I think Jon Favreau was there that day.
Because you were the hologram.
Yeah, they did the hologram on the side while I was filming episode 8.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay, and then of course...
Which was a cool experience, by the way.
Yeah, really cool.
Awesome. What was that experience like?
Yeah.
You basically, you sit on something, like there's a blue screen behind me, and then I'll give my monologue like this, then I'll give my monologue like this, then I'll give my monologue like this, so they have all the angles, and then they make a cool-ass hologram.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Sick. Out of was there any major differences working with those directors? What was that experience like?
Everyone had their own thing. I think Lee Isaac was more about the subtlety in human interaction. But the consistent throughout all of them is they loved what they were doing.
Yeah.
Everyone was passionate about what they were doing.
Yeah.
Then everyone brought something else, just like all the actors do.
I do have a question specifically about that episode 3 that third episode in Mando season 3.
Yeah.
That's one of the like coolest looks we've gotten at the civilian side of Coruscant. What was that like filming? Was it more volume? Was it more green screen? Was it practical? What was the split there?
It was a mix of practical sets and volume.
Okay.
I don't remember green screen at all for the you're talking about the Coruscant stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it was all volume and practical sets. And I had my own apartment.
Wow.
That was the coolest part of it.
That's really sick.
I refused to go to my dressing room. Like between, I was
That's
just like,
amazing.
I'm just gonna chill in my apartment. You know, like how many people can say they have an apartment on Coruscant?
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then I would go and like, you know, you always see the lights and buttons in like Star Wars, and then I would go behind the wall and see like, they do it the same way they did in the originals. You know,
you're in that list of like Anakin and Padme and what other apartments do we even see on Coruscant? That's a pretty and Andor with Cassian's apartment, but like that's a short list of people who have their own rent spaces on Coruscant. That's pretty cool.
Not lost on me, man. Yeah. I was excited about that.
I mean, the episode is so lore building, world building. I would say, like, because truly, it's other than what we see in Andor. That was the most we had seen of Coruscant in really anything.
Prequel, right?
Yeah, like we see a little bit in Kenobi in the opening, and then like we go to Mando season 3, and that's like that, and then Ahmed Best's episode with the flashback with Killer Beck. But really, like that was like, I mean, it was a full like 45 minutes of like
it was so lived in.
Really cool. Even you get to return to the opera house where Anakin and
going up those steps the same way.
Yeah, exact same shot.
Giving a speech. Which is cool when you see the thing, but like when we shot it, it was just literally like some plywood and then a blue screen.
Yeah.
And then 3 extras, and that was it. And they kept moving the extras.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel epic when I was filming it, but it looked epic when I saw it. You know,
it turned out really nice.
Yeah. You get to interact with a lot of different species, a lot of different practical species. What is it like acting to somebody who looks like Admiral Akbar and those aliens? How is that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I admire it. It's fun. As soon as they yell action, all that fun stuff is out the door. Yeah. And you fully believe in the world. Yeah. But it's also like talking to the I don't know the word for it, the interrogation droid.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I mean, like, you're sitting across this thing, and then like there's a guy in a gray suit behind him doing this, moving his arms.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then somebody, one of the, an AD or a PA reading the lines like way off screen, and you're like, how is this going to work?
Yeah.
And then it all comes together. Like it's
beautiful.
It's so cool to watch.
Is it just someone talking while they do that stuff, or
it's like a PA or AD talking?
Okay.
Yeah. They're like over here. They're like, oh, and Dr. Pershing, like, how do you feel about this? And then you're just acting with this like. Unmoving robot. Like maybe he's moving his head a little bit, but his arms are doing this.
Yeah,
that's an extreme level of like commitment and like dedication to the world. The last question I have for you excited for the Mando movie?
Very much so, but I'm in the dark like all y'all, so I don't know what it's about.
The last question we'll ask before we end this, because we've taken up enough of your time. You've been very gracious to talk about Star Wars with us.
Always.
If you could have Dr. Pershing interact with any other Star Wars character, this is a pie in the sky. This could be somebody who's from the prequels 100 years in either direction. Who would you want to see that interaction be with?
Palpatine.
Makes sense.
That's a great. I mean, with the cloners, that's very cool.
Snoke or Palpatine, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the things in the vats in season 2 were like. Well, I remember seeing that episode 5 years ago now, and I was like, whoa, okay, we're Snoke, Palpatine stuff. So, great answer. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time, and truly, on behalf of both of us and everybody else in Star Wars, thank you for your contributions to making that magic, because it's truly an illusion, and you made it real. So it's great.
It's my pleasure. I just want to thank the fans too. I mean, they're a huge part of it too.
We hope to see you return.
Yeah,
me too. Thank you.
We can't wait till you return in Star Wars. There you go.
Let's put that out there. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and may the Force be with you always.
With you.
Always remember.